Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Peanuts and Cracker Jacks from the Sign Gypsies Red Hills studio. As always, be sure and check them out on the Facebook. Click that little book now button and Melly will take care of whatever special occasion needs you have, whether it's birthday, anniversary, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, holidays that are coming up, or just to tell somebody that you love them. Go to Facebook, check out Sign Gypsies Red Hills, and click the Book Now button. Last time we spoke, we got to talking about Mississippi State baseball. We talked about what we could expect offensively, how I see the lineup shaking out to start the year. Again, this weekend, opening weekend for college baseball, Mississippi State will be out in Arlington, Texas to face the University of Texas, TCU, and Texas Tech. Really looking forward to that. Arkansas and Ole Miss will also be out there. All of these are top 10, top 12 teams in the nation, and the talent is probably as good, if not better, than the talent that we'll see alongside us in Omaha later this year. But really looking forward to that. Planning on making the trip myself. Going to watch them firsthand. Really excited about that, because if you know me, you know that Mississippi State baseball has been a lifelong love of mine, something that I get excited about every year. I'm not always an optimist in every point of life, but when it comes to Mississippi State baseball, I always expect us to be in Omaha, and I always expect us to win, and this year's not any different. I think the unquestioned strength of this team is our pitching staff from top to bottom. We may not have a Jeff Brantley or Paul Mahalam or B.J. Wallace, somebody like that. But we've got three guys that are going to start for us this year that are potential first-round picks. And they, if they are not superstars, they are guys that are capable of being number 4 or 5 starters in Major League Baseball at worst. The ceiling for all three of them would be to be a number 1 or 2. And those are the guys I'm going to talk about first. Our Friday night starter should be Christian McLeod, big left-hander who eligibility-wise is I guess he's still a redshirt freshman, technically, sophomore. This is his 3rd year in the program. He sat out 2019 with an illness, but started in 2020 and did not disappoint through his first 4 outings. He was he was by far the best pitcher on the staff, and I expect him to improve on what he did last year. He's a guy that throws 4 pitches with command. He strikes out a lot of guys, even though he does not have just absolutely overpowering stuff. He's a guy that really knows how to pitch. He's a guy that moves the ball around and can keep batters off balance, keep them guessing. He's a lot of fun to watch. A really technical pitcher. Throws about 93, 94 top end on his fastball with a really nice slider, changeup, curve mix. But he should be our Friday night guy, and he should be going up against the other team's best every weekend. Check him out if you get a chance on Friday nights. He's a draft eligible sophomore this year. And chances are he will be taken in either the 1st or 2nd round at worst. I don't expect him to come back next year, even though I would absolutely love to have him for one more season in Starkville. But he's going to be our Friday night guy. Our Saturday guy more than likely is going to be Will Bednar. Will was a true freshman last year, started the season coming out of the bullpen in relief of Christian McLeod, and the two of them made a really good 1-2 punch. As the season went on and when JT Ginn went down with injury, Bednar assumed a starter's role and continued to improve each time he went out. He didn't pitch like a freshman. He never gets rattled on the mound. He's a lot like McLeod, except he's throwing from the right side. Really good control of all of his pitches. And he's a guy that I think this year could really make a jump. He's definitely got the stuff. He's got the bloodlines. He's got an older brother that's pitching in the majors this year. He's been with San Diego the last couple of years. He got dealt to Pittsburgh just a couple of weeks ago when the Padres traded for Joe Musgrove. But I expect Will to have a fantastic season in 2020. Be a solid Saturday guy. Like McLeod, he's got first round potential this year. But also like McLeod, I would love to see him come back for another season at Mississippi State in 2022. If there really are as many top elite level pitchers in college baseball as people are saying this year, maybe that pushes both of these guys down. Not that I want to take any money out of their pockets. I want them to have great seasons regardless. But if they were to get pushed into the second or third round, I'd love to see both of them back. And the same goes for our likely Sunday starter, Eric Sarantola. Again, Sarantola is mocked as a first rounder by a lot of draft sites. He's a guy that we've watched over the last couple of years. He's got tremendous stuff. Big 6'6" Canadian. Throws 96, 97 effortlessly. He's a guy that I really expect once he gets to Major League Baseball to be hitting triple digits. But maybe the biggest thing that he's got going for him right now is that scouts say that his curveball has got the best spin rate of any draft-eligible pitcher this year. He started throwing it a lot more last year, and I expect him to improve his control a lot since we last saw him back in February, early March of 2020. That's always been the biggest thing that has held him back and prevented him from going more than a few innings in a game. He's the kind of guy that we've seen come out and strike out the first three batters, only to come back in the second inning and walk the first three batters, or vice versa. It's really been a big mixed bag with Sarantola. He's been prone to get in trouble early and not be able to get out of it himself. But if he's able to find the strike zone with more consistency this year, it will be tremendous for Mississippi State, and he will likely leave as a first-round pick just because of his potential. As far as ceiling goes, I'd have to say if he reaches his ceiling, he's a little bit better of a prospect than McLeod or Bednar are right now, even though if you go watch the three of them pitch right now, I don't have any doubts that you would say that McLeod and Bednar are the better pitchers. All three are excellent, but they're very different. McLeod and Bednar, as I said earlier, are more similar other than the hand that they throw with. But Sarantola, when you look at potential, what could this guy be? He's really top-end material. We hope to see it in Starkville a lot more this year than we have in the past. Those are the first three guys that you want to think of when you think about the starting rotation this year. I think they're pretty much locks going into this first weekend to start the first three games. If we get later into the season and something changes on a weekend, other guys that you might see throwing, Brandon Smith is returning from Tommy John surgery and is supposedly 100%. He was throwing about 91 to 93 a month or two ago. I think we'll work him in slowly, but by mid-March, 1st of April, I think he'll be one of our main pitchers, either in a starting role or as a long reliever out of the bullpen. He could even close if it's necessary. When we saw him in 2019, he was primarily a fastball pitcher, and he's got some really nasty movement on that heater. He's a guy that you'd love to be able to bring in after somebody like a Carlisle Kessler. If you're in a situation where Kessler comes in and pitches through the order one time, and then bring in Brandon Smith to really change the dynamic and what the batters are looking at. It'd be a great situation to work him into early in the season when you don't need him to go as long. Other guys that could possibly start for us this year, I mentioned Kessler. Kessler started a few Friday night games for us last year. He doesn't have great stuff. He uses a lot of deception though. He's one of those guys like Ethan Small, like I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name in San Francisco. He changes his throwing motion up in his delivery about every pitch, or at least every other pitch, to keep batters guessing. He's got that little hesitation move on his delivery. Sometimes he'll go with the big Louis Tiant windup. The quick pitch is also there in his repertoire. He really uses everything he can to be successful on the mound, and for the very most part, he was last year. So he's a guy that can be a spot starter or a midweek starter for you. I expect him to be a middle inning guy for us this year and pitching on the weekends. He's somebody that can definitely give you 2, 3, 4 innings if necessary. Houston Harding is another guy that we could see in a starting role. Houston came on in his last start last year against Texas Tech and looked really good. I think he threw 5 innings. I want to say he only gave up 1 hit. I could be wrong about that. Either way, he was really good in his last outing. A day or two later, the season's over, so we didn't get to see him again. But I've heard nothing but good things about Houston over the course of this past offseason, so I expect him. Houston could be our midweek guy. He could be a Tuesday, Wednesday guy. A really important role as we look at RPI and just wins overall. Those midweek games are extremely important. We got a taste or a bad taste in our mouth last year, losing a couple of those. I think overall it just adds to the momentum that we have going into each weekend when we can send a guy like Houston Harding out on a Tuesday or Wednesday to lock down Memphis or Alcorn or whoever it is. Not that Alcorn's an RPI win, but you know what I'm saying. Cam Tuller is another guy. It's a new guy. Comes from junior college up in Chicago, or Illinois rather, not Chicago. I think it's Wabash. He's from Michigan. He started making some noise in the fall. I heard a lot of good things about him. Really good strikeout to walk ratio in junior college. Piled up a lot of wins. He's a guy that we're probably going to start off slow, but he's also a guy that has got the potential to jump to a weekend starter's role if need be. If we're going to run one of those piggyback rotations at the beginning of the year, he's definitely a guy that I would see coming in the 4th or 5th inning to take over for whoever the starter was, whether it be McLeod or Bednar or Sarantola. I really like the potential that he shows. True freshmen that are coming in that you probably heard of: Mikey Tepper, Jackson Fristow, Dylan Carmouche. Those are the big 3 that are coming in. How many innings they actually pitch this year, I don't know. All of them have potential to be a starter down the road. In what capacity we see them in 2021, is obviously yet to be figured out, but I do expect each of them to pitch barring injury. Guys that we're looking at in more of a bullpen role, there's 3 main guys that I'm thinking of that we've seen before. The 2 older guys, Riley Self, who I think is entering his 9th year in the program now. He's actually on salary, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's some sort of loophole in the NCAA guidelines just because he is so old. But he's back. He looked a lot better last year than I expected. There was a time not too long ago when I really thought his arm was dead and didn't think that we were going to get much out of him. My thinking has changed significantly. I think Riley is a guy that more than anything, he's going to come out and give you everything he's got each time. He's not afraid to come in a high leverage situation against a Vanderbilt or a Florida or an Arkansas. He doesn't have great stuff. He throws mainly a cutter. So if it's not cutting, he's not going to cut it. But he's this is his last opportunity. I really expect him to give us everything that he's got and to be successful this year. Behind him, Spencer Price returned from Tommy John surgery last year and was absolutely fantastic as our closer. Spencer Spencer was great in 2018. We really missed him in 2019. And last year, he looked like that lockdown guy that everybody needs at the back of the bullpen. Hopefully, in 2021, we see the same thing that we saw in 2020 from him. The other guy out there that was a true freshman last year that's back is Landon Sims. Landon Sims pitched, I believe it was opening day. It was either opening day or opening weekend, I'm sure, and got absolutely rocked. For a second, I was like, uh-oh, this guy, they're talking about how great he's supposed to be, and he comes in and gets destroyed in his first outing. Well, fortunately for us, he turned into an absolute machine. He's one of the faster workers on the staff, and when he's in the zone, this guy is just pumping fastballs in at 95, 96 steadily, painting corners, just making people look stupid. There's been talk of moving him to the rotation, but from what I saw last year from stuff and from just his demeanor, he really looks like a potential closer. I could see him as a setup man this year, much like Colby White was 2 years ago, coming in front of Spencer Price. But he's a real strike thrower. He's got really good stuff. I'm interested to see what he has added to the fastball this year. He didn't throw a lot of off-speed stuff in 2020. He didn't need to, but he didn't have that many appearances at the same time. But to get better and to really be successful against SEC teams, he's going to need to add a solid second pitch to his arsenal. But don't doubt that he can do it. And I think he'll be a huge arm for us in 2021. Some of the freshmen that I mentioned, Jackson Fristow and Mikey Tepper are both right-handers. Dylan Carmouche is a left-hander. It'll be interesting to see them, especially during the midweeks. With the way the ticket situation is this year, midweek games may be the only ones that I get to see in person. So I'm hoping those guys get a lot of innings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and we can save some of the veteran arms for the weekend series, especially for SEC play. Just looking at my notes, I know we're going to trot out 15 or 16 pitchers this year. Other the ones that we haven't seen, I don't have a whole lot of questions about the ones in the or on the roster this year. Like I mentioned, there was a time when Riley Self really looked like he had lost it. I can go back to a game against Vanderbilt 2 to 3 years ago when I personally had lost all faith in him. But I really think he has done a tremendous job coming back over the last, I believe that was 3 years ago. I believe that was 2018, if I remember correctly. And I think he had some arm trouble back then that they weren't as quick to shut him down as maybe they should have been. But outside of Riley Self and maybe Brandon Smith and Carlisle Kessler. Smith, because of he's returning from injury, just depending on how long it takes him to get back in the groove. And Kessler, just because he's a different kind of cat. He is more of a junk baller, I would say. He's probably going to throw somewhere 86 to 88 on the fastball with a lot of curves and changeup. And like I said, uses a lot of deception, but he's had good results. Like Spencer Price and Riley Self, Kessler hasn't been with us that long, but he is old as dirt. I think this is his 7th year in college baseball. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he next year would be his 7th year if he uses that freebie from 2020. But he's a guy that's been around, was a Friday night starter before he got to state, so he can get the job done. The other guys, I expect a tremendous amount from Christian McLeod and Will Bednar. I don't care if it's Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. I don't care if it's Tommy Mace. I don't care if it's Richard Fitz or Landon Marceau or Jaden Hill. I don't care who it is. I think those two guys can go up against anybody in the SEC, anybody in the country, and come out on top. They're just that good. Whether or not either one of them down the road becomes a Max Scherzer or a Clayton Kershaw or Garrett Cole, I don't know about them. I think they're definitely at some point going to be first-round picks. And make it to the major leagues at some point. And anybody that makes it to the major leagues is a star. Some just shine brighter than others. These guys are going to be good. I don't know exactly what the ceiling is for them, but as far as college goes, I think they're as good as anybody in the country. And I put them up against the best from Texas, the best from California, the best from Florida. You name it, they'll show up and they'll get the job done. Sarantola is a fun guy to watch. Like I said, he throws 96, 97 like I'm out in the front yard tossing with my kids. It's just very effortlessly done, and I think hopefully we'll see it this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him hit triple digits. Colby White's the only guy that I've personally seen at Mississippi State hit that 100 on the radar gun. It gets people fired up, and if he can harness that and start throwing that hard consistently with that big spinning curve, watch out on Sundays because he's going to be nasty. I can see why MLB scouts like him as much as they do. That's about all I've got on the pitchers. I may have missed a couple other guys. I know we've got some other guys coming back that pitched last year, like Chase Patrick and is it Jacob Shempert? I'm drawing a blank. Some other arms that we've got out there that pitched quality innings last year. Some other newcomers that we'll be seeing for the first time. But again, I really think this is the best group of arms that we've ever had, and I've been following Mississippi State baseball since the Clark and Palmero days. I've seen a lot of great pitchers come through, and I would put McLeod and Bednar up there with anybody as far as starters potential. I would put Landon Sims in that group as far as relievers if that's where he sticks. I really believe that's where his place is. I think he will eventually be our closer, whether it's this year or next. He's that guy when he comes out onto the mound, he looks like he's ready to destroy you. And typically those guys are best suited for 1 and 2 inning stints. I think he pretty well proved last year that he can give you 6 outs. And that's great because these days the more specialized everybody's becoming, 1 inning oftentimes is the most a guy like that can go. But if Sims can give you 2, that's just gravy. Again, this weekend, opening weekend for college baseball, Mississippi State plays at 11 a.m. on Friday against the University of Texas. Should be a great game, great start to the season. Again, everybody that's playing this weekend is in the top 10. I'd love to win 2 games. If we win 1 and lose 2 close ones, I don't think it's anything to be disappointed about. We're going to be strong throughout the season, and I really expect this team to be in Omaha at the end of the year. Maybe this is the year that we finally bring home that team national championship. There's no better program to do it for Mississippi State than the baseball program. I think they're the most deserving. I don't say that with any homerism in my voice or in my mind at all, none whatsoever. But as always, Mississippi State baseball is going to be a lot of fun. I really wish that the stadium was open to 100% capacity. But I'm going to be at as many games as I can. The ones I can't make, I'm going to be watching on TV and trying to give you reports each week. Let you know what I saw and what I thought about what happened, win or lose. But as usual, thanks for listening. Be sure to like, comment, share. Call your buddies and tell them to watch it. Check out Red Hills, Sign Gypsies Red Hills on the Facebook. Click the book now button and Melly will hook you up with a sign. If you need one for your wife just to tell her that you love her, we do that. Birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, not too far away. Whatever your need is, say it big, say it with Sign Gypsies. Click on the book now button. But until next time, guys, I've really enjoyed talking to you. We'll have some more content for you either later this week or the first of next week after Mississippi State's series out in Texas. But buckle down here in Mississippi. We're in the middle of Ice-mageddon. Stay safe. Don't be on the road unless you have to, unless you're driving to Texas. Or you have to go to work because you have to feed your family, or because you need to go to the grocery store, or you want to go to a friend's house or whatever. But good talking to you, and I will see you next time.